Well, hey there, it's Jennie Wallach with the Wallach Group in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today I'm excited to share an agent success secrets from a true Joy. Literally, that's her name, Joy Larson. I have had the honor of knowing Joy for many years now, watching her growth and success. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. So, Joy, thank you for hanging out with me today. So, tell everyone who you are, where you are, and what you got going on there in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, Joy Larson, live in Cleveland. I've been here for going on almost 30 years. Grew up in the city of Chicago, was a school teacher out there in the Chicago area, and then ended up moving to Ohio. My husband ended up doing the real estate world, and that's how I became an agent because he started buying properties. So that started me on this whole venture. The big
Well,
wide world.
yeah, and it's so fun because not sometimes it seems that a lot of us didn't really like set out with a dream and a goal of being a real estate agent. We somehow got here by different ways. And yours is a great story as you were a teacher, and obviously teachers succeed at a high level in this industry, I believe. And so your husband nudged you a little bit because he wanted to save some money on all his investment properties. And I'd say it has worked out. I mean, how many families do you get to help each year anyway? And how are you doing this year?
So we have been helping like about 125 families every year for the past 3 years, and we're on track this year to we're about at 90 so far. So
Wow.
it definitely is one of those things where I didn't set out to do that, but that's we love helping people, that's for sure. The
Jo-
teacher aspect.
Well, Joy, as I think about it, over the last 3 years, these past 3 years have actually been pretty tough for real estate. Like it was great, and then it went a little wonky, at least for lots of us. So, how have you maintained that level of productivity with your clients? Is it easy? What's been the journey with that?
I always say consistency. I am a very consistent person. So it's sort of like if you're a runner, which I am not, you're always running, right? You're not stopping. So I'm always not always working, but I'm consistent at doing the things to get the results. And so because of you, Jenny, the events has been one of my mainstays. And every month we have an event. So all my team, we have 8 on our team, all of them are able to reach out to people saying about what's going on and what's happening in our world. So we're bringing people along with us. So that's what makes it fun. I guess being the joy team, we need to have fun or I'm done.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you just mentioned something that I think a lot of us are seeing as the biggest struggle. If you do have a team or you are an agent yourself, we know that just talking to people every day isn't always that fun or not really motivating or exciting. But what you said is if you have a monthly plan that everyone has a reason to reach out to their people, then it just makes it easier to
Yep.
engage and have fun.
And
So
it makes it fun, and we're all excited about the different things. And again, I mimic you
well,
totally. So many of the things I say, they're what Jenny teaches, what you
wow.
teach. So totally.
Well, this interview is about you, and I love that you implement. So not only do you take the time to learn what others are doing that are succeeding, you're getting into action. That's the big gap, Joy. Not all people do that part. So what is it about you that has forced you to actually implement faster than maybe that other agent out there?
Well, the one thing I could say, the one thing that catapulted me beside your training, okay, and implementing it, but was my virtual assistant.
Ah,
Because I looked at the time frame. I literally remember to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I was maxed to capacity. I had somebody who was helping me, but I didn't have systems really in play. It was all me, me, me. And I hated my life. I hated my world. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And mixed with COVID then and all of that pop in, then I just started copying systems of you, Jennie, and the virtual assistant took that all off my plate
Yeah.
and it made it so much fun to do these events. So then I started having a blast doing it.
Wow. Okay. So this is great. Yeah, I know that you have found um, the value of leverage. I mean, you have 8 agents on your team now, which that's a whole nother training topic and day to dive deep into. But just even having a virtual assistant, an affordable way to leverage off some of those systems, those checklist type items, that is just really cool. So how did you get to the point in your mind that it was okay, that it didn't have to be you doing everything?
Well, the great thing, I do have a husband is sort of like I always talk about him. He is amazing, but he is like my mini coach behind me saying, "Why are you doing $6 an hour work?" You
Yeah.
know, we hired him at 4.50 an hour and now he's paid $6, which is as much as a colonel in the army. Like he's doing very well. Just so it's not that $6 an hour, he's actually doing well in the Philippines, you know.
Right.
But I went to a training class with a bunch of landlords because my husband and I, we own rental properties.
A few.
And we heard, yeah, we heard this guy speak on virtual landlords. And we're like, huh, we really should implement that.
Yeah.
And we went home and implemented it. It was not fun. It was a headache through the process. That's a whole nother training
Mhm.
right there. But yet, once we implemented the fourth person, let's just put it that way, wasn't easy. Fired three,
Mhm.
fourth one paid off. And
Yeah.
he's been with us going on 5 years. And my business took off from 7 million to, well, we're on track to hit over 30 this year. So, you know, I mean that it's through consistency, but through leverage for sure.
And you mentioned Jeff, your amazing husband. We'll give him shout outs and props for, hey, Jeff, thanks for all you do. But whether it's Jeff or whether it's a mentor or a leader or a coach, you do have to have that support that sees your value and sees how talented and successful you can be if you just get out of your own way.
Yep. And one of the things he was seeing me in my office too long. And I know the coaches have said this, like get your calendar and write down your hours and then see how much money you're worth. How much are you doing? And he's like, Joy, you're doing $6 an hour work, which is how much we paid our VA. And it's like, why are you doing that? You can be so much more fruitful. Pass that to him and move on instead of doing it myself, you know.
Yeah, I know. And I do see that being a big struggle for so many of us. Something that I think is really great about you, Joy, you're now an empty nester. Your kiddos are all off and grown, and I know coming back stayed with you for the summer. But, that takes a lot of work to help all of those, young people fly, set them free. Um, but you've stayed very consistent also, even through their younger days with your morning routine, with getting your mindset right out of the gate. So talk a bit about that.
Well, mindset is your brain, what you think is what you start to act.
Yeah.
But for 30 years or more, I have had my own devotion. I get into the Bible and I do my prayer. Like I have a prayer journal. So now I'm trying to dive into other people and their problems instead of all about me. I want to help others. I'm more in the abundance mentality. I want to help people now. But that was a non-negotiable for me every morning to be able, even if it's 5 minutes, I remember my pastor's wife, she had five little kids, and she said before she goes to the phone, she opens scripture, and sometimes it's only for a minute before she gets interrupted, but then she starts there before she reads a book or gets on the phone. And so I am trying to re-implement that instead of going to the stupid phone, but
Yeah.
to get your mindset. Then I also do strength training now. I've implemented that in my 50s and now do the sauna. So now I've extended my window and I do not talk to people until 10 a.m. because that's my non-negotiable time for sure.
And it's working. Right?
Yep.
You have a bigger business than you ever thought possible and a bigger life because you travel and have a lot of fun on vacations. If you follow Joy on Facebook, you'll get to see all the fun she's having. So that life by design has been created by you. It didn't just magically appear. So
Yep.
what would that process look like for somebody starting today going, man, I want a life like that. How do I do it?
Well, for 30 years, I actually have been doing vision boards.
Oh,
I've been doing that a lot. I used to be a creative memories consultant for 18 years, and we used to do that with our clients and cut up magazines and all of that. And now I do that with my team. But to have that in front of me, and it's just interesting how almost every year when we do our goal setting, my husband and I do it every year. We achieve the majority of it, except the weight aspect seems to
yeah.
always struggle. But that is the start. Like, and then to figure out how you want your life to look like, right? Like what Jennie's life, what your life is and mine are totally different. And they're both great. But yet we need to implement certain pieces and parts of each person. And then you make it work for your life. So
Yeah.
we love to travel. So my husband's like, you need to have a team so that like I don't want to do the
Mhm.
deals. I help the people in the deals now,
Yeah.
where I love this piece because I can do that from wherever in the world I am. So I went on a missions trip to Thailand and was able to do some things while I was over there and help people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
With that whole leverage piece, another thing you've done is implemented video. So utilizing YouTube. And I think this is brilliant. And I've done versions of this as well. So share how you created this library of content that's also helping you bring in business.
So it's funny because you know how we say the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, oh my word, I've said this about 10 times this week. Well, if you said it 10 times, then just film yourself once and send the client the video. So instead, what I did is I started putting it on YouTube 5 years ago. I know a bunch of people have had great success, and I tried not to compare. Like, how come right? We get that way where we're like, how come I don't have the success in YouTube that they did? But yet, mine was more for to help just so that I don't have to repeat myself so much. Now, it has brought business, but I started off with the fact that, and inspection and appraisal videos, definitely love that one.
Mhm.
So I would resend it to every client, and it was set for YouTube, a general, like under contract was another one. But then I started doing the moving to one. So we get a lot, not a lot, but we get people who are coming in from out of state. They actually, my daughter was in North Carolina, looked up Lorraine for something, and it popped my YouTube video up. She's like, Mom,
So is
it's
that
moving to rain.
so is
Yeah.
that a city near you? And so you're using that to be the kind of tagline that people would find in their search?
Yes.
Yeah.
But local people don't really search the moving to because they
Yeah.
know the area. So
Right.
we found we don't get a lot of people to Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, we do, but not a ton. They move within the Northeast Ohio area. But it's interesting how it just, I do get YouTube leads and they just want to use me. They already so everybody, all those YouTube trainers out there, it works. It's just I don't see that level, but it does make me look like an expert to any of my clients.
Yeah.
That's what's great about it.
That is so true. And it doesn't even matter at what level of mastery you get into. You can just start with your basic Zoom, utilizing your Zoom that records it, that can upload it. It doesn't even have to be fancy to still
Yeah.
make an impact. So I love that. Joy, if you were starting over today, you've had a long career in business now doing this gig. You had another business before. You were a teacher. You've learned a lot. What would you do today differently if you were starting from scratch with real estate?
Well, I know you hear this all the time at first, but don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Like, especially right now, I'm finding, but it's people are stressed out or I would do again and again and again the morning routine. Just, I'm like, man, if I don't have my morning devos, life is done. The day moves and it's like, what did you accomplish? Because you're just in the frazzle mode where I feel like my head's set on straight, my vision is clear. It's like run the race marked out for you, like, and not anybody else. And that's been huge, game changer.
All right. So sticking with what you've already been doing.
Yes. Yes.
What would
Yeah.
you do? What would you do differently? Like, I mean, like, what would you have not wasted your time on?
Well, one of the things that I think I mentioned this before, but I had another business and I did not think that those contacts could relate to real estate. Hello. Those those people trusted me selling scrapbooking supplies for 18 years and then I just let them go poof,
Yeah.
So that was a lesson learned. Now I'm actually going back to those people and I quit 10 years ago and they still trust me, and they've been coming out of the woodwork that way. But it's like all of those people in that have run through your life are all people that should be in your life now or in your database. If you don't have a data bank, you don't have a business, really. And,
Right.
you know,
It's all about that. It's always so fun chatting with you. How can people best find you if they want to follow along and connect?
Well, I do post on the Joy Team at Keller Williams for on Facebook. It's Joy Team at Keller Williams, but or Joy Larson on Facebook. I'm a Facebooker. I do have Instagram, but
Yeah.
not on there too much. So
It's our more mature age of friends that are mostly on the Facebook. I'm with you there. So I
yeah,
always enjoy hanging out with you, Joy. Thanks for being such an amazing Momentum member and also just so fun to be around. I always feel fired up, energized, engaged when I chat with you. And so thank you for that.
yeah, you're the best.
You're the best. All right, I'll talk to you later and have a great day. Bye.
Yep. See you later.